The Brand Ed Podcast with Robbie Fowler, episode 27, A New, Better Way to Build Your Coaching, Consulting, or Speaker Website. Welcome to the Brand Ed Podcast, the show that helps you position, pitch, and profit from your brand. I believe the chaos and confusion around what branding is, why it matters for your business, and how to translate your brand into profit leads to overspending on marketing, underperforming businesses, and overwhelmed leaders. Stay tuned to discover how to position your brand in the market, pitch your business with purpose, and profit from a life-giving brand that blesses you and your customers. Welcome to today's episode of the Brand Ed Podcast. I'm excited today to talk together and to think through together a new and better way, a new and better approach, I think, to building your next coaching, consulting, or speaker website. This will also apply if maybe you're a podcaster or an author or a personal brand. This will apply. And if you're not, if you run a traditional business, I still want you to check this out because the same approach I think will work for you. So let's jump in and see if there's not a new, better way to think about this. So let's start with a very brief recap of what we talked about on the last episode. On episode 26, we took a look at what is it you should be paying for and expecting to get from a web designer or from a web developer or a website firm. Okay, so when you take your checkbook out, pull out your credit card, and you're getting ready to pay a web designer for your website, what should you be expecting to get from that web designer? And what we talked about were at least 4 areas. You want expert help. You want answers to at least these 4 areas. Number 1 is all that technical stuff, right? So what website builder or platform should I be on? WordPress or something else? All that technical stuff about your domain name and DNS settings and, just all that technical stuff that generally, particularly if you're a coach, consultant, or speaker, that just makes you want to vomit. So your web designer should be helping you navigate all of those pieces, not just choosing what they prefer, what they like, but choosing what's in your best interest because they're an expert. Then we also said, you're paying them for the obvious. If you hire a web designer, you're hiring them for design. But we talked about push beyond just the obvious design. Really, if you're hiring a pro, you want someone that's also going to be thinking through the site structure, like how your website is organized overall. You're going to want to think about you want that designer to be thinking in terms and be an expert at what's usually called user experience. In other words, when someone visits your website, what is their experience like? Are they frustrated? Are things easy for them to find? Obviously, copywriting and messaging and just what goes where. What content needs to be on the page, what content does not need to be on this particular page. Those are some of the things you should be paying for and expecting from a web designer beyond just make it look pretty, okay? The third thing we talked about was strategy. This one's missing, I think, a lot from too many web designers that are asking you to pay for their services. But you want someone that can think strategically about your business. You want a web designer who also has business kind of acumen, right? Business IQ, because you want him or her to be able to kind of connect the dots between, okay, here's where we're going to take your website, what we're going to do with your website. Here's how that's going to drive conversions, and here's how that is going to bring more profit or revenue into your business. That, I believe, should be your web designer's job. To think, as we think about the website, this person's area of expertise, here's how the website can help you get from here to there in your business, right? It's their job to help you connect those dots and say, this is what's going to increase conversions. increase visitors to your site, and we convert those visitors, and then you see profits. That's what you're paying for. And then the last area we looked at, I said, maybe we just summarize under the idea or the banner of protection. Okay, you're paying that pro, that web designer, web developer for protection. In other words, you're protecting my future in the sense that what you're doing for me, I can take it and I can run with it. It's easy for me to maintain. It will grow with me and with my business. Like, I'm assuming you're looking out for not just today, this, getting the website done and moving on to your next project, web designer. I'm assuming I'm paying you to think about and kind of my future and protect me from, you turning the keys over to a website that I don't really know how to use or understand. So that's a brief recap. You can go back and listen to episode 26 if you want, a little bit deeper dive on those 4 areas. But we just said, hey, that's what you're paying for. Not just, hey, send me your stuff and I'll make it look pretty or amazing. Okay. Number 2, we talked about the problem is, I think the current system for how websites get built or designed, I think the system is broken, particularly for 2 groups of people. We just call them starters and growers. So that could be, starters could be, you've got a side hustle that you want to start. You've got a side hustle that you're ready to start into your full-time job. So you want to pivot out of maybe, like a corporate America job and move into your own business as a coach or a consultant or a speaker. Maybe you're some other kind of solopreneur or entrepreneur, right? But you're starting, you're getting started, or we call them growers. A grower is somebody that's like, have started my business, and this website is going to be, oftentimes it's like round 2, round 3, or maybe round 4 of my site. Maybe the stage beyond that would be like, multiplying. I've got lots of people underneath me that I can delegate to. I've got 5 or more people. This person handles this part of my personal brand or coaching or consulting business. So grower, in my mind, that they're just short of that. Maybe you have 1 or 2 people or, kind of subcontractors that you work with that help you out, like an administrative assistant type person, and maybe, 1 other subcontractor that you sub out some work to. Or helps you with your business. So your business is already started and it's growing. Okay. So I think the system is broken for you if you're a starter or you're a grower. And real quick, we said, well, how is it broken for those kinds of people? So think of yourself like, the middle class in America. It is said that the middle class is disappearing or has disappeared in a lot of respects in America. And I think a starter and grower, it's similar in that getting a web design built for you by a professional that can do the things I just described is oftentimes for a starter or a grower, one that really knows what they're doing, a web designer who really knows what they're doing, not just can make things look pretty. It's usually cost prohibitive. Like that person earned his or her stripes and you got to pay for that. So it's cost prohibitive for many starters or growers, right? It's harder to afford a real pro. It's time prohibitive, so that if you don't go that route and say, well, I'm just going to figure this out myself, that takes a ton of time to learn it, kind of do it on your own. It's high risk, right? The way it's set up right now, either you hire an expensive pro or you figure it out yourself. It's high risk because if you're down at the DIY end, like I'm going to figure out this out myself, it's high risk because you find out too late that you made, a pretty significant wrong choice. Like I never should have built it on that platform, or I should have thought this part of my business through there because there's no way I can add this on my website. I just added consulting. I want to start getting paid through my web. I can't do that because of some decision, DIY, decision I made back then. And then the last reason why I think it's broken is it's often terrifying to try to maintain or grow your website. So when you get, a professional that does it, the designer finishes his stuff. He or she, again, usually picks a platform that they're comfortable with. Maybe they've used it in a similar business, but that doesn't mean, just because I've done 5 consulting websites doesn't mean your business is at the place those businesses are when I finish their sites and turn the keys over to them. It doesn't mean your kind of technical prowess is the same as theirs. Yours may be more, yours may be less. So what ends up happening, designer turns the keys over to you, you write a check, and you don't know how to use the site. That just happens too often. And you feel strapped with something that you paid big bucks for, and then kind of trapped into this codependent relationship, right, with your designer. Like every time you want to do something, you got to ring them. And some of them build that into their own business. I hate to tell you this, but as a professional web designer, as part of what I do, lots of folks, I don't particularly do this because I don't love this aspect. I don't love it for you, and I don't love it for me. But it's a great business move if I'm a web designer to turn the keys over and keep you, I would never use this language, but I keep you dependent on me and that monthly maintenance contract, right? It's just that drip that you're paying me to keep up with things or make up to 5 changes a month for you or whatever that is. It's this ongoing payment that ultimately they didn't really solve a problem for you. They solved the problem for them. And that is they've got ongoing, kind of retainer revenue. So those are some reasons why I think the current system is broken if you're a starter or a grower, like a coach, consultant, or speaker who's getting started or who's trying to grow your business. And you're looking for that, again, second, maybe third, maybe even fourth generation of your website because your business is really growing. So I said on that episode, hey, this episode, we're going to look at a better way. Is there a newer, better approach to tackling this problem for I need a great website as a coach, consultant, or speaker, but I'm not at that kind of multiplying level where I can write the check for the kind of pro that I really need. You still need that pro level quality. You just may not be in a position where it's a wise move, to afford that right now. So what is that better way? Well, let's remember the options. Okay. So right now the options are really 2 options. One is the DIY option, and that is you go figure it out yourself. Okay. That's an option. And a lot of times when you're a starter, when you're just getting started, if you're about to build your first or second, website for your coaching, consulting, or speaker business, you feel, again, kind of backed into a corner. Like, I can't afford that pro. Do you kind of lower your expectations and still hire someone and it's not a great hire when that web designer, like, but at least I can afford them? Or do you go, no, I'm going to figure this out myself? And that's really, really tough when you're trying to start your business. You've got so much of your attention needs to be on your business and growing your business and fulfilling your business that figuring out website stuff is just not realistic. The other option then is, if the first one's DIY, right, the other option is PTP, right? And that's pay the pro. Right. And again, some folks can do that, and you can write that check. You can invest money in that and get the right kind of professional web designer who has those skills to help you in the ways that we've talked about earlier. But I do think there's kind of a new approach. It's one that I have kind of started, and now I'm ready to take it to the next level. Because I hear from so many of you that are in this position. And in this new, I think, better approach, we'll just call it, instead of DIY, do it yourself, or PTP, pay the pro, it's DWY. And maybe you've kind of heard that before. It's done with you. Okay. Instead of DIY, you do it yourself. It's done with you. In other words, you're getting a pro not to do it for you, but to help you and do it with you, so that you're kind of learning along the way. So here is what I think is a new and better approach. It's kind of a hybrid between a more traditional online course or product that would say, hey, here's how you go build your own coaching, consulting, or speaker website. And a cross between that and, again, just go hire a pro and have them do it for you, and then circle back in the end and show you kind of what you need to know to hopefully take it and run with it. So this is a done with you approach. It's really 3 things in my mind. I think this is a better way to do it. Number 1, the approach is it's an online course, but it's live. Okay. It's live. What does that mean? when it's live. Why would you care if it's live? That means that there is accountability, right? Because a small group of us would be doing this together, live together. So there's accountability. Other folks are doing. Now that can happen sometimes in an online course, right? When folks, do an open enrollment for an online course and then close it and try to progress, the group of folks that bought that course when it opened in quarter one through that product. But when it's live, like you're there, I'm there, the pro's there, right? There's accountability. There's expertise, right? When there's a live launch, like there's the expert, you have access to their expertise. There's a sense of community. We are doing this together. So let's say 5 of us did this together. I'm a pro. I'm taking 5 coaches, consultants, or speakers through this new and better approach. We're doing it live. Okay. We're accountable. There's expertise because you have access, right? And then there's a sense of community. I'm not alone. And then there's the speed factor. I'll talk about this just at the end, like what kind of speed factor are we talking about? But you can move quicker, right? You can move quicker. And then when it's live and it's in this kind of setting, there's still availability for customization. Customized to your business, your specific needs, because it's not a, pre-recorded, pre-done cookie cutter course that's already set, and too bad if it doesn't fit you. Nor is it, you, again, like I said, pay the pro, just working individually with a pro. There's still the availability for customization. So this new approach, in my mind, it's done with you. Number one, it's live. And you get the benefits of doing this live. Accountability together, expertise is available to you. There's a community, small community of you doing this together. There is, the speed factor that I'll talk about again here in the end of this, and then there's customization because it's not cookie cutter, pre-recorded, already done. Okay, so the new, better approach, it's done with you. Number one, it's live. Okay. Number two, it is an online course, but it's an online course that keeps the benefits of an online course and gets rid of the weaknesses of an online course. Okay. What do I mean? It keeps the benefits. Okay. This new, better approach with the online course aspect, that's still there. It's going to keep the benefits of an online course. Those benefits would include, so you can take advantage of those. Those include things like, a many to one relationship. So it allows for the pro or the expert like me, pro web designer, to work with 5 or 10 coaches or consultants going through this together at the same time. When I can do many to one, 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 or something, 1 to 3, 1 to 10, something like that, that obviously makes things far more cost efficient for you, right? Because you're not paying for exclusivity of time working with a pro designer. So it's cost efficient for you. That's the benefit of a course. A course creator creates a course once and then can sell it 10, 100, 100,000 times, right? And so there's efficiency and it's cost efficient for you, the coach, consultant, or speaker, right? Think back to that middle class. Like this actually addresses you where you are in the middle class. Number 2, online course benefit is that online course is always available. Like anytime, day or night, no matter where you are in the world, you can log in and you have access to what you need. You specifically can get the help you specifically need whenever you need it. You go look at, hey, this gets talked about, or this question gets answered in this module. I'm going to go look at this one. You can do that at high noon or midnight, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. So it keeps the benefits of the many to one relationship, which makes it cost effective, the always available aspect of an online course that you can get to what you need anytime you want, and then the collective wisdom, right? If I'm not just doing an individual consulting or coaching or speaker website for an individual, there's that community aspect in an online course means there's collective wisdom. So we're all learning. I've certainly seen this when I've done this approach, with websites with a similar audience that someone will say, hey, I really could use this on my website. And everyone else in there goes, oh, yeah, I would totally do that. How can we do that? So there's the collective wisdom, kind of goes with that saying. Maybe you've heard a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So one person needs something. We figure out how to do that and everybody benefits from it. So those are benefits from our online course. This new, better approach keeps those benefits, but here's what it removes. Here's the weaknesses of online courses. Most of us don't want to admit whether we've either taken them because we're ashamed that we bought something and this is true of us, or we create them and we're ashamed that, yeah, people buy it. I go deposit their check in my bank account, but this is also still true. Oh, well. So some of those weaknesses are the number one weakness, online courses, you never complete it, right? You buy the online course, you're excited, you try to get started, life happens, and you never quite finish it, right? If this is live and we do it together, it takes that out of the equation, okay? So you would complete it. Number two, a weakness of an online course is when you're there in module, whatever, doing that thing, you can still feel alone. Even if there's a community like a Facebook group or a Slack channel or something like that to hop in and ask questions, it can still, like at 9:30 at night when you're wrestling with this, it can still feel very lonely. Like, well, no one else asked any questions on this, so maybe I'm the only goober that can't figure this part out. So it removes that because we would be doing stuff live together. And then number three, it gets rid of those haunted, unanswered questions. Like, I just don't know where to get this particular question answered. Because again, it's a pre-recorded online course. It's cookie cutter. It's done. I don't know how to get my specific question answered. So you're just kind of haunted by, I'm not sure. I'm like 60% sure I'm doing this right, but I'm just not quite sure. So this gets rid of that. Okay. So again, let's go over those first two. This new, better approach, number one, it's live. And number two, it's an online course that keeps the benefits of online courses and removes those weaknesses that come with online courses. Number three, it actually fills the void, right? This new, better approach that we're talking about takes care of all that technical stuff. That's part of the course. So all those questions about what platforms should I use as a coach, consultant, or speaker for my website? Where should I go get my domain name? Or I already have one. How do I hook it up? Can I hook it up? All those technical questions are solved. Okay, so it fills that void. Remember, that's one of the things you're paying for a pro. Number two, it fills the void of all that design stuff because this new, better approach includes specific templates, custom designed for coaches, consultants, and speakers, not just to look neat. There's a million templates out there, believe me. Not just to look neat, but to help drive conversions and profit, right? To help turn visitors into buyers. So specifically for coaches, consultants, and speakers, and it's going to take care of a lot of the messaging and the copywriting. So the templates that are included in what I am describing that are exclusive inside what I'm about to tell you about and share, just to see if you're interested in this, those templates, every single pixel has been designed, right? And every word has been written. So in other words, it does not have that lorem ipsum Latin placeholder text that so many other templates have, or even, English placeholder text. This has the exact sample messaging you need inside that template. So you get a exact feel for the kind, the kind of messaging that goes in this particular spot, how long that needs to be, like all of that it removes all of those questions for you. So it's far, more indifferent than I just got a template. And then the last void that it fills, so it takes care of that tech stuff. It takes care of all the design stuff. That problem is solved. And here's that other missing piece we said that's not there a lot of times. It takes care of the strategy piece, right? You have an expert there with you going, no, you don't need that. Nope, get rid of that. And That's what a good web designer will do a lot of the times, is tell you the stuff you need to get rid of, not just the stuff you need to include. So there's the strategic aspect of, no, let's put this part of the page next and answer this question that your visitor has. And then, direct them here, or take them here, or give them this opportunity or this call to action. So that strategy piece is there. So it fills the void of the tech stuff, all the design stuff beyond, and even beyond the obvious design stuff, and that strategy piece that we mentioned earlier. Okay, so bottom line, this new, better way for a coach, consultant, or speaker to build a website. Here's the bottom line. What we're really talking about is you would have the ability to get your killer website built in a week. Okay. So it's fast, it's live, and yet, like after the live part is done, you still have access to the course, what was covered in the live course. It's not just that like it gets recorded somewhere and like, hey, there's a link to the call or whatever. The course is already built. It's already proven that it works with folks doing it themselves. I have just been mulling over this quite a bit lately to say, how can this be even better? Okay, so it's worked for coaches, consultants, and speakers in that more traditional coaching model. They bought the course, they went through every module, it was super easy, they didn't have to know anything, and boop, they come out the other end and they have an amazing website that they built themselves based on these custom templates, with all the right messaging and the right strategy, and they nailed it. But I still think there's a better way, and that's to add that live component where a small group of us go through it together. So the bottom line is you would get your killer website built in a week. And here's the benefit. Here's the other thing that I want you to think about. This new, better approach has a side effect, like medication. It's on our minds now, right? With the pandemic and the, shots that are starting to go to first responders, the vaccine, and so we're thinking about side effects. Well, this approach this new, better approach to building your website does have a side effect. But here's the good news. It's a good side effect. It's a great side effect. The side effect is when you're done, because I'm not doing everything for you, we are doing it together, done with you. You'll actually know how to take your website that you build in a week and run with it. Because a side effect is you learned how to use kind of the website platform that we use for this particular approach. And that is a game changer, right? You're not dependent to call someone else when you need to add something, make changes, tweak something, add a whole new section of your site. You're going to kind of have learned as a side effect, oh, this is how I use this platform and this system. So it's I think a much better approach. It's not pay the pro and you just turn things over and the pro does it for you. It's not go figure it out yourself. It is a done with you approach that marriages done with you, live training, online course, and expert help. So it takes the benefit of having the pro that you get when you hire the pro designer, and it keeps you in charge and gives you the keys, kind of like the DIY part is done. If you did all do it DIY, when you come out the other end, like what you're doing. If only the strong survive that approach, but if you do make it, if you're one of the rare that makes it through the other end of the DIY, figure it all out yourself, you know how to use your website and to make it grow with you because you've figured it out. So it pulls that benefit in. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about a new, better approach for a coach, consultant, or speaker, particularly if you're a starter or grower who's like, I need that next either first website or really need to get my website kind of to that next level. This is a better approach for coaches, consultants, and speakers. It's and all I want to do is say, if that interests you, then I'm going to tell you what to do next. Well, thanks for joining me on this episode and just hearing me out on, is there a new and better way to build your website if you're a coach, consultant, or speaker? And if you're interested at all in exploring that, like, hey, that I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but that interests me, then all you have to do is, I'll put a link in the show notes. Just go to robbyf.com/live, L-I-V, right? robbyf.com/live. And just all you got to do is say, yes, I'm interested. You're not committing to anything, but I will get more information into your hands about exactly what this looks like. Like I said, I already have the kind of traditional, more static course built for you to go do this yourself. What I'm exploring is I still think we can take that and make it like 1,000 times even better if we take a small group and we do a live launch together where we're working together on that. So if that interests you at all, or if you know someone who, this would be of interest to them, a friend who's a coach or consultant or a speaker and has a need for a website, then again, robbyf.com/live. All you're doing is saying, yes, I'm interested. I'm not going to hound you, and chase you down or anything. I just want to get some more information in your hands. And I think that some of us that are, like, if you're up for pioneering a much better way to do this, then I think it's there for the taking. So I'd love for you to check that out. It's in the show notes, robbyf.com/live. Again, thanks so much for tuning in this week. Next week on the next episode, we're going to jump back in to an interview with one of my good friends. We're going to hear from Dr. Eugene Choi, and he's going to talk about your mindset and help us think about how we're thinking about our business and really probably blow your mind on some ways that you can be far more effective and productive at work, regardless of where you work. So make sure you tune in to next week's episode with my friend Eugene. In the meantime, have a great week and go and build a life-giving brand.